Yeah, we didn't do all that. James, you're welcome to start.
Sure. Hello, so my name is James Wago, and for my senior research project, I developed a redesign and re-implementation of our intranet software, which we use at TJ. So for those of you who aren't TJ students, if you're a TJ student, you know what intranet is. But at TJ, intranet is basically the web-based portal that is how all students get access to TJ resources. It's basically TJ on the internet and teachers and administrators. So the most important feature of intranet is 8th period, and is why it was originally designed. 8th period at TJ is the 8th period of the class day in which students sign up for activities they want to attend. And teachers then sponsor activities, have their take attendance for those activities, and then administrators manage the system and then assign teachers to have certain activities that they sponsor and then take attendance for and stuff like that. So it's basically a web-based and electronic activity management system, which is used every day at TJ. So other features of intranet are announcements. Intranet is the primary way in which communication is sent between administration and teachers and students. So on the intranet homepage, there are announcements. These can be filtered to be like for certain grades for certain students, in which they apply. Announcements are also sent out through email and stuff like that, and posted on Twitter, Facebook, social media. Also, we have a student directory in intranet, which allows for you to access other students' information. It's basically like the what's a student directory, so it's like an actual handbook you often get like from SG at the beginning of the year. It's an online electronic version of that. So at the beginning of the year, students and their parents, they sign a little sheet which says what information they want to be publicly available by students. So then students who are logged into intranet, they can search up students, they can view stuff like their phone numbers, addresses, and what period activities they signed up for, and also like their class schedule, and then like the roster of those class schedules and stuff like that. This is per the FERPA Act, which is a legislation which mandates that student data has to be have certain safeguards and practices. So there's a lot more functionality of intranet. This is a basic rundown. When it's election time in the year, so like SG elections, stuff like that, rules happen on the internet. If you're at home, you can access school files. You can access school files from home using the internet via the file center. Also, if you are at TJ campus, you can print to any printer in the school using the printer functionality. You upload your document via the prints. We have events, so students can add events that are happening at TJ, and then they can view those events in the calendar and also like on the main page. And also, just internet is built as an open platform. It is fully open source. We have an open API, which means you can design. People are currently doing like an Android application that uses the internet data set and allows you access to internet. So I'm going to go into a bit of a brief history of the internet software. TJ has used an internet program since around 2000 in various different forms. So 8th period itself existed since the mid-1990s, before we even have a web-based internet system before the technology was available. Students initially signed up for 8th period using scantrons that were then fed into and then read by a database program at the beginning of each month. In the late 1990s, students developed an internet software which allowed students to see what they'd signed up for and also access student information. In 1999, the original TJ Intranet launched, which was a PHP application that allowed students to access that data and then actually sign up on computers and devices instead of doing like a Scantron system, which was like paper. Around 2004, a project was developed to rewrite the intranet because it was deemed like unmaintainable. It was very sloppily written. This was called Iodine Intranet 2, which used the similar open source technologies and also used a better structure for the application using object oriented approach and stuff like that. And then starting in June 30, 2013, I began working on this project, Intranet 3, which was a redevelopment of the previous intranet using all new technologies. I will get into that. So here's some screenshots. This is the original web-based intranet. which was found on the poster that we actually found storage in. So you can see some new activities. This is the original intranet. You can see the table-like design. Intranet 1 had a lot of problems. That is why Intranet 2 was added. If, false, and and also change back when it's unbroken around 2013. So this was the Intranet 2 development project, which took several years. And these are some screenshots from the Intranet 2 application. You can see it looks kind of dated. This was an interface design, and the application was launched around 2006. So while there was a slight user interface upgrade around 2011 or 2012, it still really wasn't a great interface. It was basically just that we had to completely redo it. So yeah, Intranet 2 had its problems as well. For example, it became quickly unmaintainable because teachers and students wanted announcements to be posted, and there was no automated system to do this. So they just emailed a certain email address with the announcement that they wanted posted, and then students had to manually email back and make sure the teachers approved the announcements and then post them manually, stuff like that. Also, various technological issues. Intranet 2 had a lot of stability issues, and also was very inefficient on the back end. So, for example, during an 8th period day, during lunch and at the beginning of 8th period, Intranet was typically completely inaccessible because, for example, if you were accessing the list of 8th period signups, like to view and sign up for activities, that would take typically over 1,000 different separate MySQL queries, which would be put on the database. So if more than like 30 or so students were trying to access that page at one time, that would be true. So I'm going to do a quick little demonstration. There's some screenshots in here as well. So I think I'm just going to continue back here. Intranet 3 was a project to redevelop the previous Intranet. We chose myself and Ethan Lohman, who graduated last year, worked together on this project. Around last May, I decided I wanted this to be a nice university project for it to actually launch this year. So development began around May of 2013, and the application launched in November of 2015 to a good amount of success. So it took about 29 months to launch the application. Why Intranet 3, besides just the problems with the previous application, and why we wanted to use a totally new architecture. PHP and the iodine backend was having a lot of issues. Just generally, the PHP language itself is no longer really considered a modern framework to use. It was just we wanted to use Python. We decided we wanted to use Python and what's known as the Django web framework. This is used by a lot of applications today. For example, Pinterest and Instagram use this as their backend, and it works very well for them. We also use a number of different technologies such as PostgreSQL, which is better than MySQL for database querying at high loads and high capacities, and also Redis for simple caching. And at the very front, the Nginx web server, and then the Unicorn web application server. So other editions of Intranet 3, which allow it to be a lot easier used and easier developed by students and sysadmins, is that we created a Vagrant development environment. Vagrant is basically a solution that allows you to have a little virtual machine which runs your application. So on your laptop, for example, you can run a full virtual machine with very minimal setup that allows you to have all of the Intranet development tools there. With Intranet 2, you had to actually run it. It was also customized. You actually had to run it, even your development environment, on the actual production virtual machine using the same databases, and then it was practically impossible to run outside of the environment. In Intranet 3, you could actually run and adapt to like a non-QA environment. Also with Intranet 3, we included a increased emphasis on having good documentation and actually doing unit testing. Unit testing is basically means that your application checks itself, and your application notices when itself is not working. So that is not fully done, but that's continuing to be worked on by myself and also the other student Intranet volunteers. Also, and the main bit, the most visible enhancement from a user point of view, is the completely redesigned interface, which was focused on responsive design for mobile devices. So here are a couple screenshots. So this is the Intranet login page. It's right here, and then this is the iodine login page. It's pretty simple there. So they're there. You have the bell schedule there, sign in there. But then the place this is the most obvious is on the actual dashboard page. So compared to the previous Intranet, which was very much table-based, didn't adapt very well to multiple screen sizes, with Intranet 3 we use responsive layouts. So what this means is, that's what I was trying to do. So this means if we resize the size of the page, so say we're on a desktop, so the interface adapts to the size of our screen. So if we're on a mobile device, or if we're on a tablet, let's say about this screen size, you'll notice the interface is adapted to the size of the screen. If we're on a cell phone, you'll see suddenly we have a whole mobile view. It's actually the same application automatically adapts. This is most visible on the 8th period page. See this right here? So here's the desktop 8th period view. At the very top, you can choose what blocks, so what day, and then what block on that day you want to sign up for. On the left, you see a list of all the activities sorted in different categories. If you click on an activity, you can then sign up or view the roster. So if we're on a tablet, for example, we'll see that it adjusts so that it takes up a little space. But then if you're on a cell phone, you'll see it's completely adapted to a mobile view. So if you scroll down here, you click one, it slides out from the side. You can click this little button and then switch between blocks. It's very well optimized for mobile device. This was the largest focus put on the internet application in terms of how it was different from everything. So here are a couple more screenshots. And the corresponding intranet to interface, which is very much table-based and not responsive. Initially for teachers, teachers have a better user interface and it's a lot easier for them to do what they need to do, which is take attendance for the activities with fewer steps. In Intranet 2, taking attendance for your activity, which all teachers need to do every day, was a multi-step process, which included clicking a couple small links on the various different interfaces of the page. On Intranet 3, we just have a little widget, which appears right over here on the right. So like over there where you see the upcoming period, it appears there. And there it just shows them the different activities that they're sponsoring, allows them to click on the attendance thing here. If they have not taken attendance for that block, it is highlighted. If they have, you see a little check mark, so it allows them to more easily do that block. And finally for administrators, this is where probably the largest UI change happened, but it's the UI change that the fewest people see. So the 8th period administration interface is really important because the staff who manages 8th period and the intranet in terms of the activities and stuff being scheduled are not the same people who actually develop the software. So there needs to be an easily usable by the common person interface to actually, for example, schedule activities and see what rooms are being used and that kind of thing. So you can like actually have activities that are sponsored by sponsors and in-group activities. So here are a couple screenshots showing the different responsive design. If you are on a cell phone, additionally, and you have a small screen, you see a little nav bar here, kind of like a mobile application. You see that stuff adapts to the screen. So the design process took a little while. As you heard, the development process for the entire application took about 2.5 years. I would say probably about the whole first year of development was deciding what kind of interface to use. So here are a couple different mock-ups that were created, both like design-wise, and some of these were actually created as like beginning applications about how to design an application. There were a lot of different ideas floating around. Most of them involved it being responsive, working well on a mobile device, using the mobile first idea, which is designed for cell phones first, and then you blow up the interface to a tablet or a desktop. So if you see right here, this is the user interface that actually ended up getting designed. You see the navigation bar at the top, you see the little user icon here, the widgets here, although they got designed a bit differently than the navigation on the left, as well as the computer interface. So in terms of how the actual application works on a database level and in terms of the structure, so we use Django as the main software of which the software is created. So Django has something called an ORM, which is an object relational mapper, and it also uses a paradigm of model view controller. So we actually create different database models that are handled by Django, and then Django works with the database and does these raw SQL queries for us. So for example, if you want, this is a model for an 8th period sponsor. So you see first name, last name, user, which is a reference to the actual user model in the application, whether they do online attendance, and then whether to show their full name. So then we can do simple queries in the Python shell and throughout the application, such as get all of the 8 sponsors, filter the sponsors that have a last name that's fifth, filter the last names that start with A of the 8 sponsors, and do stuff like that. It's very useful. manipulation of the data. We don't have to do these raw proofs. Another thing I mentioned earlier was the news request process. In Intranet 2, there was no standardized process for this. The process, if you wanted an announcement posted on Intranet, was you had to contact the people who manage Intranet and ask them to post the announcement. And then on the announcement page of the show, post it as Intranet administrator, that kind of thing. So with Intranet 3, we have a whole news request process. How this happens is there is a link. Once you are logged in, you hit I want to request a news post. You type in the title, the content of the news post, then you type in the name of a teacher or a sponsor who's going to approve this for you if you're a student. And then that teacher gets an email. They then have to click a button which says they approve or they deny of the announcement, because we need all announcements to be approved and moderated by teachers. And then a final announcement gets sent to an administrator to do a final review and then it gets posted on the TJ Intranet website as well as on Twitter and stuff. So all of this about Intranet itself, I worked on starting from the end of my freshman year on an unofficial basis, just as a sysadmin, to then it becoming my senior research project at the end of my junior year, and then the application launched in November of my senior year. But from about December of this year until now, I've been working on some other things relating to Intranet, continued working on Intranet, but I've worked on getting different signage displays added around the school. You may have seen some of them. For example, there's one there right now. There are also several different touchscreens that have been added. So the idea behind this project started around mid last year. The 8th period office, they wanted an easy way to get information on the activities taking place during an 8th period day out to students. What they've been doing previously was actually printing out tons of different sheets every day and posting them at all different places around the school. So the idea was contrived that if we had different monitors and then put them around the school, then they could dynamically show this data. And they could also have a ton of other purposes as well. So you see here's an example. This is one that's outside the library in that hallway. There's also one in the Curry Commons that's over here, so you can take a look at that when you leave. But the main functionality for these signage displays, they are run using Raspberry Pis, and then we have 40-inch, in most cases, touchscreen monitors that are then mounted on the wall. The different functionality available is you can see the bell schedule, which is the default view. You can view a list of 8th period activities, and then it's the same as the interface for our students when they're on Intranet. So they can scroll through, they see the activities, they see the names, they see the sponsors, they see the rules. They click on it, and then from the right, it's specific information appears about that. You can also see announcements. You can also see the TJ calendar, and you can also see now added recently a full map of the school with group numbers, which has been helpful for TJStar. So here are a couple of the locations where these got added. The initial location where this was created and we set up, we added it around December. We used all commodity hardware that we had. So we had several 24-inch Sun monitors that we had since around 2008, 2009. So we mounted them to the wall. We used Raspberry Pi 1s that we already had, which are the initial Raspberry Pis. Non-touchscreen monitors. We just had them display the static information of the 8th period schedule scroll. We decided later on that this 2 portrait displays, if we wanted to do things besides just show the 8th period data, they weren't very efficient. So we moved to landscape displays. These are 40-inch touchscreens. There are, I think, 4 of them around the school now. There's one in the main entrance commons there. There's one in the commons to the left of the main entrance. There's one in the outside of the library. There's one in this. So these allow a lot more flexibility in terms of what we do. And in theory, the interface can change at any time. We now have these large touchscreens used for practically any purpose. So that's the presentation. Anyone have any questions? Yeah.
These are large touchscreens then, so students are actually putting their fingerprints handprints all over it. It works well?
Yeah, so the idea is students go up to it and then they touch around, they can view the 8th period schedule, they can scroll around the 8th period list, they can view the map, that kind of thing. It's interactive